It has been over 25 years since the construction of the National Nuclear Physics Research Laboratory at Allenwood in County Mayo in the Republic of Ireland. Despite its size and its profile, little is known about what really goes on there. The facility, known locally as the site, has been associated with all sorts of mysterious phenomena over the years. Eyewitness accounts of UFOs, lights in the sky and disappearances have led some to call the site Ireland's Area 51. This is American journalist and filmmaker Chris O'Malley.
This place, this site, it's always fascinated me. I'm a big fan, of Area 51. A lot of my work has been spent investigating places like this. And what's interesting about the site is this. There are places like this all over Russia and China, but nobody talks about them because, well, they're like Russia and China. You're not allowed to talk about them. But here in Ireland, a supposedly open country, nobody talks about the site. And it's not because they're not allowed to. I think it's like they don't want to know.
Since coming into operation in 1991, there has been very little interest from the mainstream media in the site. In Mayo, where it provides thousands of well-paid jobs, there is almost a wall of silence around it. Seamus Kenny is a sheep farmer who lives outside Killala in North Mayo. He's not particularly concerned about what goes on at the site, but he does appreciate the investment it brings to the area.
We have so many young people in this area, and farming's not going to provide for them. And Allenwood has provided thousands of jobs. So it's very hard to ignore that.
Work on the site began in the 80s under the Haughey government, and the facility finally opened its doors in 1991. In all, the campus encompasses over 50 square kilometres of countryside, including a 15,000-foot long runway. The workers, many of them from overseas, are housed in the purpose-built town of Northwood, a slice of American suburbia in the heart of the Irish countryside. Security at the site is incredibly tight. A whole division of the Irish Police, the Garda Special Operations Unit, is tasked with guarding it. Unlike the regular police in Ireland, the GSOU is armed.
Okay, so a lot of people think that this place is owned by the Irish government because it's called the National Nuclear Physics Research Laboratory, or whatever, but it's not. It's funded by the European Science and Research Council. So, okay, you're thinking that it's like EU funded or something like that, but it has nothing to do with Europe. The European Science and Research Council is a privately owned company based in Holland. The government here just pays for the security. This is a totally private entity.
All our requests for an interview with the site's operators were refused. They did, however, issue the following statement. The National Nuclear Physics Research Laboratory is a particle physics laboratory. Our primary goal is to seek to understand the basic constituents of matter and of energy. We do not receive any funding from the Irish government or from anybody else. Consequently, there is a strong commercial aspect to our operations.
Okay, so we said that the site is owned and operated by this thing called the European Science and Research Council, right? So this is where things get very murky. The ESRC is a subsidiary of a firm called Nordion Defence Dynamics, and these guys are huge. They turn over billions of dollars every year. They are very, very low key. They're not publicly listed and they are in some seriously shady stuff. Private military contracting, aerospace engineering, and big data. Now that one in particular is very interesting.
Oxford Analytics is a subsidiary of Nordyne that specialises in information and messaging operations. They are election management strategists that harvest data from social media, from credit card companies, and from retailers to create psychological profiles of millions of European and American voters, and to target them accordingly. While their mission statement claims their goal is to correct mainstream media bias, they have delivered elections for both hard left and hard right political parties in Austria, in Poland and Spain. In Ireland, it is no surprise that the country's main opposition party, the Irish National Workers' Party, is tipped to win next year's general election. Party leader Martin Ryan strongly backs the ESRC's plan to expand the site. These are the offices of the Citizens Information Network, a group of activists who specialise in open source journalism and social media investigation. Journalist Kevin Cunningham has a special interest in the site.
As open source journalists, one of the tools that we rely most heavily upon, particularly when it comes to the kind of inaccessible places such as a site, is satellite imagery. Now, it does have its limitations, of course, like everything else, but there's still a lot we can learn. And we have learned a lot about the site over the past couple of years.
A number of surface-to-air missile batteries and a powerful over-the-horizon radar system are currently deployed at the site. It has been speculated that the site houses a nuclear reactor and that the purpose of these air defences may be to protect against attack from a hijacked civilian airliner.
Nordyne Defence Dynamics, the people that operate the site, and indeed the Irish government, have always denied the presence of a nuclear reactor there. But I think when you look at the satellite imagery, the evidence is really quite incontrovertible. You can see the hardened containment unit, the building that houses the nuclear reactor. I suppose from my point of view, the question is really, if they're hiding something as big as that, or if they're denying something as big as that, what else are they hiding that we can't see?
I was a project scientist at the site for a number of years, and I was working on a device called a dual-phase time projection array, something we were using to detect weakly interacting massive particles which we think might be the constituents of dark matter. It wasn't that the work was peculiar as such, although certainly some aspects of it were strange. It was more the secrecy that I found so disconcerting. We were ordered to run certain tests. We're not told why we were doing them, and we never saw any results. I don't know any other civilian facility that operates in this way. And that's really just the tip of the iceberg.
In recent years, North Mayo has become a hotbed for UFO watchers. This footage was filmed in 2010 outside the town of Glenamoy. UFO activity has significantly increased in recent years, with over 200 sites reported in 2018 alone. So much so, the main road west of Ballina has become known as the Extraterrestrial Highway. The area has another, more sinister name, the Disappearing Triangle. Between Killala, Crossmolina and Rossport, almost 24 people have vanished in the last 20 years. In 2015, the bodies of an American couple, environmental activists Joe and Mary Schreiber, were found astride the Northwood commuter line. Despite the fact that they had been missing for over 15 years, their bodies showed no sign of injury or decomposition. Strange things continue to happen at the site. In the past 6 months, a locomotive spraying weeds along a disused section of the Westport to Northwood rail line disappeared along with its crew. It simply vanished into thin air.
So initially when I started this story, I didn't think there'd be any point in traveling to the site or even trying to get close to it. It's too isolated and too inaccessible. There wouldn't really be anything to film. But as time's gone on and I've learned more and more about the site, I feel drawn to it. I want to go to get a sense of the place and a sense of the atmosphere surrounding the area. I feel that's important to my understanding of the overall story. So that's where we're going.
This is the RTE News at 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. Details are continuing to emerge regarding events of last week, which saw nationwide disruption to telephone, mobile and internet services. Confidential documents seen by this station suggest that the disruption was part of a government emergency preparedness exercise, codenamed Connex 83. The Taoiseach is expected to issue a statement in the Dáil on the matter later this afternoon. The security situation in the Ukraine continues to deteriorate today, with Reuters news agency reporting that Russian warplanes have conducted airstrikes around the country's capital of Kiev, with speculation mounting that Russian ground forces are preparing to launch an attack on the city. Ukrainian President Yulia Tymoshenko addressed the nation on national television, saying that the army and people stood ready to repel the attack at any cost. UN Special Envoy Kurt Volker is due in Moscow this afternoon to discuss the matter.
So our guide Seamus here knows a back way into the site. Technically we're trespassing, but we've come this far, so we'll see what happens.
We're 15 minutes down this track and then we turn off. We're ready to go? Let's go. Come on.
Put that camera down and turn it off right now!
Eventually, you do begin to piece things together. There is only so much that can be kept hidden. In time, I became aware of the central secret that the site is simply one part of the greater conspiracy. A conspiracy that has our political leaders in negotiations with an outside party to sell out their countries and secure their stake as a commandant of the economic transition, a transition that is going to have a profound impact on all of our lives.
We came, we got arrested, and we got sent home. What struck me most about the site were the contradictions that we found there. You have a state-of-the-art facility in a part of the world you can't even get a phone signal. You have a hard-left political party on the brink of taking power in bed with a mega corporation that wages covert war in some of the world's poorest countries. And every day, more and more, the cargo planes and the freight trains roll in, and in a country where everyone needs to know your business, no one seems to want to know why.